Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. We are so glad you're listening in today. I am your host, Jocelyn Arenetta Dion Holiday, and we are so glad to interview a Texas author who has a very unique story in the name of Rosie Pova. Welcome to the show, Rosie.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're so glad you could join us. Can you tell our listeners, how long have you been writing?
Yes, I've been writing for 14 years now. I really enjoy it and just can't imagine doing anything else. So there's no turning back from me. I'm sticking with writing.
Oh, my God. So for 14 years you've been writing. And where did you get the ideas for your books?
Well, honestly, my ideas come from everywhere. Sometimes it's from reading other books or from hearing something someone said, from my kids, of course. Or it could be a character talking in my head, and just really anywhere and everywhere. I just have to stay open to them and collect them, for later.
Oh, wow. So, and you're a children's author, correct?
That is right, yes. Mm-hmm.
So how did you get started writing children's books?
Oh, my. I've always loved writing. And even in school, I've always written short stories, poetry, essays, just you name it. Literature was my favorite subject in school. So I've been doing that and writing in Bulgarian and then in French. And then, I was very excited when in high school I actually won a first prize for my short story in French. So that was exciting. And then I kind of forgot about writing for a while, being a grown-up and moving to another country, as you can imagine. But so after I had my first child, and I started reading picture books to her, and then I fell in love with picture books. But it didn't occur to me to write any. I just loved them. And then one day someone just randomly suggested that I write children's books. And at first I was like, oh, yeah, that's so easy, right? No. But then, ideas started flowing in my head. I just couldn't stop writing. And, of course, those first stories, they were not up to publishing standards, and I had to catch up with my English. I was still struggling a little bit, but I just got that far in me that to write children's books, and I never stopped, and it just progressed from there. And yeah, now I'm published.
Oh, wow. So yeah. I know you're from Bulgaria. So you speak English, French, and Bulgarian?
Well, yes. Well, English is my fourth language. I speak Bulgarian. Then I learned French in school. Then also Russian, because we had to learn that. And finally English. So it's my fourth language.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
It is, yeah. On top of everything, I didn't know anything about publishing, believe me. Just I had to educate myself on the business, how everything worked, because just writing those stories wouldn't get me anywhere. So I had to start learning, and that's little by little. I joined, critique groups and different writers' organizations, and that's how I did it.
So how did you find your publishing company?
Well, my publishing company, I I started submitting to agents at one point. Then after so many rejections, I realized maybe I wasn't ready yet. And that's a good thing. It's good to know that you're not ready, because then you can actually hone your craft and become better at writing. So that's what I did. But I still, I was doing my workshops and conferences and critique groups and all that. But I was submitting, also looking for an agent, looking for an editor. And finally I found them in an article, and I thought, why don't I submit to them? And I sent them I think 1 or 2 stories, and the editor came back and she said she adored my books and she wanted to publish 3 of my books, and that was super exciting, a dream come true. So I'll always be grateful. I have a wonderful relationship with Callie, my editor, and I'm really grateful.
Wow. So it sounds like you had a very interesting journey for your publication. I'm a children's author as well, but I just use Google, and I just Googled everything. I'm like, Google just sounds good to me. So, of course, I just started Googling, but it sounds like you sent it to agents and you went about it the right way. And how did you find your illustrator?
My illustrator. Well, I didn't actually find them. My publisher holds a contest for each book pretty much, and they select up to 5, possible illustrators. They did consult me, and I gave them my opinion, the one that, spoke to me the most. They had submitted samples, of course, for my characters. And I just fell in love with what he did for my first book, the If I Weren't With You. It was just so tender and so loving, and it was just grabbed me right away, the style and everything. So I said, I really, really want him to illustrate the book, and they agreed, of course, and that's how it went. But for every book, they select pretty much the illustrator and consult me, and then I give them my opinion. So I'm happy about that, too.
Oh, so have you used the same illustrator for every book or different illustrators?
No, they're all different. They're all different. And the middle grade novel, the illustrator just did the cover for me. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. And see, I know an illustrator will make or break a book. So it's very important choosing your illustrator. And me, on the other hand, I just Googled mine. So
that is true, yeah. It's so important because it's collaboration, yeah. You're right.
Right. A lot of collaboration is a lot of hard work, making sure everything is perfect and making sure the picture is actually speaking to the words that you actually wanted to say.
Yes, and I'm hoping, and yeah, I was lucky, really.
Right. So how many published books do you have thus far?
So far I have those 3, 2 picture books and 1 middle grade novel, but I hope for a lot more because I keep writing and I'm collecting. So I hope to have some more soon. And
can you just go back to your very first book that you wrote and is published? Can you tell the viewers a little about your first book?
The first book published with this publisher, If I Weren't With You. Yes. Well, for that one, which wasn't my first story to write, by no means, but it was the first published book with them. That's the one she came back to me and said, I just adore it. I just want it. So that was really exciting, like I said. But with that book, the idea actually came, let me think. Yeah, the idea came from something I heard on the news, and as you can probably guess, it was bad news. So the original story was kind of sad, but I didn't want it to be that way, so it changed dramatically in the writing process and later became something completely different. The title even changed. The first title, the original title was If You Weren't Here, and then it became If I Weren't With You. So in the writing and rewriting process, the other thing that happened in the developing of the plot was that I started to incorporate a lot of my experience with my kids into the story, drawing especially from my son's personality, who asks a lot of questions. all the time. What if? What would you do if? Why? And then, but why? And every answer prompts another question. So it's never-ending string. I'm sure this sounds familiar to a lot of parents. But now, in this published version, Willie, the bear cub, is like pretty much your typical child, active, fun-loving, curious about everything, and sometimes fearful too. But the premise is that he's seeking and receiving his mother's reassurance and love and security. And another element in the story that kids and parents can relate to, I'm sure, is the fear of the unknown, the dangers of the world, and separation anxiety. And that's what Willie and Mama Bear are having a conversation about as they walk through the forest together. And Mama Bear uses images of the forest to convey her love to Willie and her dedication to keep him safe. It's a lyrical story, and it has been compared to Guess How Much I Love You and The Runaway Bunny, so that's a big compliment. And also moms have been known to cry when they read it, but the good kind of tears, so not to worry. Yes.
Right, and I know about that separation anxiety because I work at a pre-K kinder school, and right now we're dealing with the second week of school, and that separation anxiety, we actually had as many parents as children crying on the first day of school, so I'm sure your book would have helped a lot
yep,
of...
Sounds... Yeah, I know. Sounds familiar. I have 3 kids, so I've gone through that too. I know.
So
and also, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And when I go to schools and, I present to kids and I ask them, well, who has been separated from their parents, even for a little bit in the mall, the park, and it just happens, all the time. It happened to me one time. We lost our daughter at Six Flags, so that was, frightening. And it all turned out okay, but, for those few minutes that we couldn't find her, it was a panic. So,
right.
Kids, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So,
I know. I can only imagine. We have to take a very quick break, but when we come back, I know you're from Bulgaria, so I'm sure our listeners want to know, how did you journey from Bulgaria to the United States, and how was that transition? But we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come right back.
Headlines. Cryptocurrency vultures are circling around failing governments. Darknet predators are rushing to market with their newest digital product. They promise economic salvation, even as they coupon clips straight from your digital wallet. The newest techno-thriller installment from Breakfield and Berkey, The Enigma Source. Book 10 of the Enigma series continues the combat of cyber good guys versus cyber thugs set in today's digital landscape. A new online bookstore, IndieLector.store, is unlike any other. IndieLector.store offers great prices from top indie authors and supports authors at the same time by paying them more for their books. IndieLector.store has a readers club that gives you free books and special deals. Watch the IndieLector.store continue to grow before it opens in the fall of 2019 at IndieLector.store.
Howdy, I'm John Cruder, the Midnight Marauder. I guess you might say that I'm a vigilante who rights the wrongs I see along my many travels to balance the scales of justice, especially those of the corrupt and murderous members of the Town Council of Bandera, Texas. You can follow my many adventures in a series of Midnight Marauder books written by Roy Clinton on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com. Or, if you prefer, listen to my adventures in audiobook form by downloading them from Audible.com or iTunes. This is R. William James, the voice of the Midnight Marauder.
Do you love to read great new ebooks? Visit EBG247.com. Be the first to discover the next bestseller. At EBG247, we have the web's largest selection of great new book reads, from that amazing new fiction or nonfiction to horror, romance, and fantasy. We even have today's best children's books. That's EBG247.com. New books arrive daily, and all ebooks start at just 99 cents. If you love to read, then you'll love EBG247.com. EBG247.com. Low prices, large selection, and an easy-to-use website. It's all only at EBG247.com.
I Will Be the One by Larry Farmer, published by the Wild Rose Press.
When I arrived at the Manila International Airport in February 1984 in a group of prospective Peace Corps volunteers and looked out the window at the miles of ghetto around me, it took every ounce of idealism I had to stay. I already had a best friend in our group, a girl I'd met back at the staging area from San Diego named Lois. It made being friends appealing since we probably were going to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere after we finished training.
Love to read? Love to meet authors in person? Then check out bookfestival.network to find a book festival in your region of Texas. We are adding book festival events throughout the year, so sign up to get notices and even a coupon towards purchase of a Texas author's book. Sign up at bookfestival.network. Hello, Texas authors. My name is Randy James, coming to you from my Carrollton recording studio, where I spend time writing and producing commercials for my radio endorsement clients, as well as my private freelance clients. I'd like the opportunity to help you sell more books with a commercial like this and get listeners of Dear Texas Radio excited about your title, all at a special introductory price, available to members of the Texas Association of Authors. Call or text 214-762-1942. That's 214-762-1942. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Welcome back, and we're so happy to interview Texas author Rosie Pova. Yes, she is a Texas author, but she was originally from Bulgaria. Can you please tell the listeners, what was your journey like to come from Bulgaria to the United States?
Yes. So I left Bulgaria in 1998 and immigrated to Canada. So I first lived in Vancouver, BC, which is the most beautiful place. It was just love at first sight. But like I mentioned before, I didn't speak English very well. Well, I did speak it, but wasn't fluent. I actually went to French school in Bulgaria. So that was the one thing to overcome, switch to English. And that was the beginning of my journey. In fact, speaking of language barriers, I have a story to share about this. So my first job after I got my immigration papers was a security officer at the Vancouver International Airport. I was one of those people, checking the carry-ons and the X-ray machine, scanning the passengers with the metal detector, So one day there was this passenger, little cranky passenger, who I guess he wasn't in a hurry or was just in a bad mood, but I had to scan him because he beeped. So it was, had to scan him with the metal detector. And I barely even said anything to him other than my routine, turn around thing. And then he told me to just go back to where I came from because my English wasn't good enough. And that was really hurtful. Yeah, that was hurtful at the time. But obviously, I didn't take his precious advice. And instead, I enrolled in English classes in Canada. So that was my, my first, determination. So, and I really want to send him all of my books right now.
Right, and tell him to say, look at me now.
Right. So, but anyway, so my first job was born in Canada, and then after a few years, we moved to the United States, and we lived in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina for a while, and then we moved to Dallas, and we've been here, and I had 2 more kids were born here, and I'm a Texan now, I guess, right?
Oh, wow. So now you're a Texan. Welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what
funny story.
Yeah, that is a funny story, but you never know who you're going to encounter on your journey. And it would be nice if you could go back to that man and say, look at me now.
Right. Yeah. So.
What has been your favorite thing about being an author so far?
Oh, I have so many favorite things. Okay, well, first I get to work in my pajamas from home. Yeah, that's really comfortable. And then I really enjoy the writing and revising process. I love revising. The magic happens, and I'm always really excited when I just, nail it and make it fit whatever element I'm struggling with. So that's a thrill. Then I love the actual finished and illustrated book when I can hold it in my hands. It's a thing, not just, my story on my computer. And last but not least, I really love author visits. I love going to schools and inspiring kids and telling them about my journey and as an author, as an immigrant, and just encouraging them to get in touch with their creativity, to dream big and to follow their passions, because that's what I did. So, yeah, those are some of my favorite things.
Right. I know when I first began writing, I had no idea I would meet so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And I know that has been my favorite, just meeting so many different people. What advice do you have for someone that may want to become an author, but they have no idea where to begin?
Yes, well, start with reading a lot of books in the genre that you want to be published in or you want to write in. Get familiar with how books are written and made, and recent books, preferably in the last 5 years. And just see what other people are doing, because books that have been published before are no longer relevant. Like, the business has changed, the publishing business has changed so much, and the writing also. So just get familiar with the books, then join critique groups. Those are invaluable. I really started advancing my writing and my understanding of the business when I joined the critique groups, and there was accountability, and there was feedback that no one else could have given me. I've just like-minded people, writers.
Right.
So go to conferences, workshops, just work on your craft as much as you can. I even have a list on my website of resources, and I put some books that I've read, books on writing that have helped me a lot. So do that, write the other books on how to write books. And, yeah, like I said, just conferences, join all the organizations, the Texas authors also. So, yeah, just be in your community.
Okay. And where can we find your books? Where are your books available right now?
Well, my books are available at the Texas Authors bookstore, everywhere online, in other bookstores. On my website, I have a lot of information for parents, teachers, librarians. I hope they visit it. It's rosie-pova.com. They will find my award-winning book trailers. They'll find teacher's guide, activity sheets, and other useful information. So, yeah.
And do you have any upcoming events?
I do, yes. I will be presenting at the SCBWI conference, regional conference in Dallas on September 21st and 22nd. I'll present a workshop on marketing, and also I'm going to lead a critique table roundtable for writers. So if anyone is interested, they can go and register, and I'll see them there. Yeah.
Okay, sounds like you have a lot going on. And I know you left your website. Can you say your website one more time just in case?
Yes, it's Rosie J Pova, and that's ROSIEJPOVA.com.
Okay. Hopefully our listeners caught that. And I know you said you've been working on a lot. Do you have any more books that are maybe published coming soon?
Nothing in the works right now, except that I'm writing, revising, doing critiques for other authors. But hopefully I'll get to share good news soon. I'm hopeful. I'm always submitting and looking for more opportunities. But currently focusing on school visits and stuff like that.
Okay, sounds good. School visits can do great things. Well, it has been a pleasure interviewing you. It has been a pleasure talking and learning more about you in all of your languages. Your books are also available at books.txauthors.com. Is there anything you would like to say before it is time for us to sign off?
Just read and write and enjoy it. and all best of luck to all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you well wishes on your journey as you continue to write. And once again, it was a great time with you, and we just wish you well. And
thank you so much. Yes, it was a pleasure. I was happy to be here.
Well, we're so glad you were here. Good luck on your adventures. I am your host, Jocelyn Arenetta Dion Holiday. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Texas Authors is proud to be a supporter of IndieBeacon.com, a website that supports indie authors from around the world. If you are looking for help with marketing or getting published, IndieBeacon.com can assist you. Years of experience by the founder is available to any indie author looking for help. IndieBeacon.com, a place for creative souls to find help in marketing their creations. Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.